Alright, so my name's Mark Hayes. I'm a Climate Change and Health Coordinator with Australian Medical Students Association, and I'm here to talk to you today about COP21. So the story of COP21 starts in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro, where the United Nations held the Rio Earth Summit. At this summit, the UNFCCC was created, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And this was developed in order for countries to cooperate on limiting global warming and temperature rises. The UNFCCC now consists of 195 countries around the world, and it's supported by the Secretariat, which organises all of the conferences or parties, or COPs. So far we've had 20 COPs, and at the end of this year will be the 21st COP, 21st Conference of Parties in Paris in December. Before we talk about Paris though, just a bit more of a background. In 1997, the UNFCCC adopted the Kyoto Protocol, and this was a legally binding contract for all developed countries to reduce their emissions. The protocol first commitment period started in 2008 and ended in 2012, and the second commitment period starts in 2013 and ends in 2020. During the COP17 in Durban, the UNFCCC initiated the Durban Platform for Enhanced Action to begin preparation for action beyond 2020, so after the Kyoto Protocol runs out. As outlined in the ad hoc working group on the Durban Platform for Enhanced Action, or the ADP, at COP17, COP21 in Paris in December is the deadline for negotiations to develop a binding agreement for the period after 2020, when the Kyoto Protocol runs out. In order to meet the 2015 deadline, UNFCCC member states have worked to adopt key structural changes and reporting measures in the lead up to COP21. In COP19 at Warsaw, governments agreed to communicate their respective contributions to the Paris Agreement, and the monitoring, reporting and verification of arrangements for domestic action were finalised for implementation. Parties agreed to put forth plans to reduce emissions by outlining intended nationally determined contributions, or INDCs, which serve as the basis for the negotiations in Paris. INDCs are basically what each country plans to do about climate change, what their emission reductions targets are, how much they're going to give to financing developing countries, and so forth. At the Lima conference in December 2014, that established when each country was supposed to give its INDCs in and what those INDCs should contain. And so by the end of this year, all countries should have their INDCs put ahead to the UNFCCC for negotiation in Paris. To date, a number of countries have put their INDCs forward. The European Union has committed to reduce emissions by 40% on 1990 levels by 2030. The United States has committed to reduce its emissions by 26 to 28% on 2005 levels by 2025. Canada has committed to reduce its emissions by 30% on 2005 levels by 2030. China has committed to peak emissions by 2030 and make every attempt to peak emissions earlier. So far, Australia hasn't put forward a post-2020 target. At the moment, Australia's target is 5% emission reductions on 2000 levels by 2020, and it has a conditional commitment to reduce emissions to up to 25% on 2000 levels by 2020. The Climate Change Authority believes that these conditions have been met. However, the government has not put forward any more ambitious targets. So in July this year, the government will announce what it thinks it should do beyond 2020, and we look forward to seeing what the government brings out, and we look forward to continuing to put pressure on the government to have ambitious targets and to ensure a healthy and safety future for us all.